Hi, I'm Peter, a product expert here at Upkeep. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the workflows available in the starter plan. All right, so the three types of workflows I'll go over today are work order requests, reactive work orders, and preventative maintenance work orders. So let's take a look at the first one right here. So our first workflow, we have work order requests. So what this is any internal or external users. For example, this could be a requester, like a tenant in a building. They'll go ahead and submit a work order request, and then an account admin will approve these requests to generate a one-time work order. So say I'm a tenant in a building, I go to the men's restroom and I notice that the sink is broken, the faucet handle is torn off. I would go ahead and submit a request to an admin. This could be the building manager. They'll go on ahead and review the request. They have two options. They can decline the request or they can approve it, and either option will notify the requester. So if it's declined, it could be that it's a duplicate request or the admin needs more information. If it's approved, then it's assigned to a technician, and then the technician will go ahead and process out that work order, fix that faucet handle, and once that's done and completed, both the requester and admin receives the updates. So let's do a quick overview. All right, so in this view, I'm logged in as a requester. If I click on add request, let's type broken faucet handle here. And then I can put down a detailed description if I want to. I could also assign priority from none to low to medium to high. I can also add an image. And there's the other fields that I can put down as well. All right, so let's go ahead and just create a simple one. So I'm going to submit that. And then as an admin, if I go into my requests tab, then you can see that this request from my requester has gone through, and I can click into it to see the details. As an admin, I can go ahead and make updates to these details. If I want to add a location, I can do so. If I want to add a specific technician, I can do that as well. And then once it's been approved, then it'll be converted into a work order. If not, I can reject it and I can put a reason why it was declined. But let's go ahead and approve this. All right, so if you click into work orders, you can see now that request has now been turned into a work order. So you can see broken faucet handle is now work order number 369. So this is an example of the work order request process. And then admins, if you go into request, you can edit the form as well. So if you know that maybe my requesters don't really need to assign an asset or even have that field, you can have the options to hide it or make it a requirement. You can add in your own fields as well. Say I want one for address. Then I can make that a required field and press save. All right, let's move on to the next one. Next, we have work orders. So an example of this is when an admin, say in a manufacturing plant, they're walking down the factory floor and they see something's wrong with the machine, and then they would go ahead and create something called a reactive work order. So this is mainly done by the side of the admins or technicians, and the difference between this and the work order request workflow is they do not require approval before creation. This can be created right on the spot. And then once it's created, it follows that same flow of working on that work order. And if it's done, then the admin can go ahead and verify and audit that work order. So let's go ahead and create one right here. All right, so I'm gonna go here and select create work order. And then I'll just title this broken equipment. Some of the fields that you saw earlier when my requester was filling out the request form are there, like description or adding an image. You can also add a due date. Say I want this to be done this coming Thursday. And I can click on that clock icon to set the designated time as well. So I want this due February 20th at noon. I can put down an estimate time. This should be done within 2 hours. Also, I can add something called tasks. So if you want them to make sure that they're completing the necessary tasks within a work order, you can do that. You can also create checklists. So these are pre-saved tasks to make it easier, and it's less manual work. All right, so let's go ahead and just create that one. And then once that's created, there are other things you can do with this. You can do team communication within this work order. So let's say this was assigned to one of my technicians, and then his name is Jimmy. I can mention him and say, hey, let's make sure this is done today. And then once that's been communicated, then my technician Jimmy will get that message. And really quick, these are the status breakdowns. Open means it's a due work order. In progress means work is being done on. On hold means the work order is paused. And complete means it's done. I can also use a timer function. If I click start timer, you can see this automatically turns to in progress. And if it's done, then I can just press complete. All right, I can even add cost as well if I wanted to. And those are some of the features that you can use with creating work orders. All right, so that's a simple one right there. Let's move on to the next one. Now, the final workflow is called preventative maintenance work order. Now, these are very similar to the one prior, reactive work orders, but the major difference is this is going to be time or function based. So an example would be, say, I own a laundromat, and every month I, make it a habit of doing a monthly washer or dryer inspection. Instead of manually creating one for every month, why not just set a recurring schedule? So then a work order is automatically generated to do an inspection. All right, so let me show you how to do that. So again, same process, create work order, monthly washer inspection. All right, so the key difference here is all we're doing is assigning a repeating schedule. So here, I'm gonna click every month. I could put a stop repeating on date and time if I want. And let's go ahead and create it just so you can see how this looks. Now, if you have a recurring work order that hasn't been clicked into, it'll have a gray checkmark box. But once you click into it, then that checkmark box turns white. And if I refresh the web browser, then that next one due in March, that's going to appear. If I click into March, the next one for April will appear, and so on and so forth. All right, so if I don't want it where I see just multiple repeating versions of this work order, what I can do is do something called schedule based on completion date. So let's delete this one really quick. If you ever want to delete future repeating versions of a work order, you just select to the most recent one, select delete, and press delete all unsaved, repeating. All right, so I'll show you an example of the schedule based on completion date. So monthly dryer inspection. All right, so repeating schedule, same thing. I'll set it for a month. So again, what this will do is you only see one version of this repeating work order. All right, so this is now created. If I click into it, notice how if I refresh the web app, that next one for March does not appear. It only appears if I click into this original one, change the status from open to complete. Once that's done, this completed work order will be removed from my work orders list view, and that next version for March will appear. And then this one will go away if you complete it, and the one for April will appear. All right, so that's just a quick rundown of how to use workflows in the starter plan. And to conclude, these workflows help create a streamlined, effective process for your jobs or tasks to complete. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please reach out to your team's upkeep admin. Other than that, have a great rest of your week. Take care.